Hey guys, so I'm gonna make another video. I'm just gonna talk about my condition a bit more. A few minutes ago I tried filming this video, but my ADD is real bad, so don't mind me right now. Also, I'm not very good at editing yet, so I'm not editing my videos quite yet. I'm gonna practice more with it before I actually make one. So yeah, it's just gonna be me talking about my condition. So, as you know, in my first video, I said I was born with caudal regression syndrome, which I describe it as like when my mom was pregnant with me, the lower part of my spine didn't completely develop. And because of that, like everything below where my spine stops, which is at like L1, I think, maybe L2. I think it's actually like right between, so like L1, L2. Anyways, so everything below that kind of didn't develop properly. So my legs, my feet were all deformed. And then also like I have other medical issues with some of my organs, which I'll talk a little bit about too. But yeah, so my legs were super deformed. I'm gonna read, sorry, I realized I wanted to read like the actual definition from like Google or whatever. So just because it sounds like more professional, I guess. I don't know. Sorry, I keep looking at the screen like to look at myself. I'm only okay. But I should be looking at the camera. So caudal regression syndrome or sacrogenesis is a congenital disorder in which there is abnormal fetal development of the lower spine, the caudal portion of the spine. It occurs at a rate of approximately 1 per 25,000 live births. That's according to like the Google search. But yeah, so some people call it sacrogenesis, some people call it caudal regression syndrome. That I've called it caudal regression syndrome my whole life. That's what the doctors told my mom when I was diagnosed. So yeah. So my legs were super deformed. Like when I was born, they were up by my ears and completely twisted. And so like my feet like my leg was up here and then my feet were like this, which isn't normal, obviously. So yeah, I had multiple surgeries on trying to fix it, and the doctors kind of did the best they could, but they still stuck straight out. Like they were like slightly bent, but barely. And then my feet couldn't get straight like this. Instead, they were like this. And they were super tiny. Like my feet, I was 10 when I got my legs amputated. My feet were probably like a 4-year-old size. I don't know exactly what size I was when I got them amputated. I think my mom kept like an old pair of my braces that I had on my feet to like for memories, I guess, which is kind of weird, but I didn't care about that stuff. But yeah, so by the time I was 10, I was kind of fed up with them. Like, since they couldn't bend, they stuck straight out. They were just in the way all the time. And like the last straw for me was when I was on the airplane, and it was a fairly long flight, like 4 or 5 hours long, and I had to stand the entire time because there wasn't enough leg room. And after that trip, I kind of was like, Mom, like, we need to like try to do something. Maybe they can try to make them bend again. So we went to the doctors and I asked them all about it, and they said that they couldn't, like, they could do surgery to make them bend, but eventually they would just stiffen back out. And then I just need another surgery and another surgery. So I was like, okay, well, obviously I don't want to do that. So in the room, right when she said that, like, she wouldn't do the surgery, I was like, all right, cut them off then. And my mom was like, like, what? I mean, so is the doctor. So for a while, I was going to see like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I can't remember which one, to make sure like I wasn't doing this like to harm myself, I guess. I don't know. Make sure I'm like mentally okay. And then by the summer after I kind of talked about it, I had the surgery finally. It's the best decision I ever made. Like, I'm so much more independent. And also, what I didn't realize beforehand was I was in so much pain, but I didn't even know it because I thought that's how it was supposed to feel. And then, like, the first thing I said when I woke up from surgery to my mom was like, oh, my feet don't hurt anymore. So, yeah, definitely my life is better without them. Also, I just like coming up with funny stories when to tell people. Like, I got attacked by a shark, and usually I'm pretty open when people ask me what happened, but if people are kind of rude, I like to mess with them. And so I say that, and then they're like, oh my god, or like they're like, oh my god, that's so cool. I'm like, I'm just kidding, it's way less interesting than that. uh, or like in high school there was this kid who was just really, really annoying me and would not stop talking, and I was just trying to focus on my work and stuff, and then he like would not stop talking to me, and I kept telling him like, okay, like, can I like focus on my work now? And he would keep talking, and then he asked me what happened. And so I told him that I fell in an elevator, like the elevator got stuck, and that like people were trying to, this is so bad, but it's funny, and he kind of deserved it in the moment, okay? um I started climbing, I said I like started climbing out of the elevator, like there was like a fire department there, but as I was climbing out, the elevator fell and my legs got cut off. I know, it's awful, but it was funny, okay? I eventually tell people like what really happened, like, in my defense. I don't know if this is really bad and if I should say that, but I think it's funny. And you have to have humor about this kind of stuff or else it's too depressing. So, yeah. And then with like some of my other medical stuff, it's I mean, it's pretty complicated. As I said, I've had 77 or 78 surgeries now, and I'm only 21 years old. So, it's a lot. I know people are like super shocked and stuff, but to me it's pretty normal. Like, and at this rate, I usually have like one, maybe two a year, which I've already had my one this year, so hopefully I'm good for now. But yeah, I have lots of issues with like my bladder, my bowels, my stomach. I have a gastric pacemaker, which shocks my stomach because my stomach's nerves are paralyzed and they don't know, so my stomach doesn't know how to like digest. So I have like a little, I mean, it's not that little, it's like pretty big actually, a pacemaker in my stomach that like shocks it, which is cool. If you like push on my stomach, you can feel it. And I was like the third pediatric patient in the state of Colorado to get one, which is also pretty interesting. But yeah, so I mean, I can go into more detail about all like the medical stuff that's on my stomach, but if you go on my Instagram, I do have a picture of it so you can see it, but I don't really explain everything, so maybe I'll make a video on that kind of stuff. I'm like super open about it because a while ago, this, like a few months ago, it wasn't actually that long ago, I saw the thing. I have a colostomy bag. And I saw this thing that this boy who was like 7 or 8 killed himself because he was bullied for having a colostomy bag. And I'm like, that blows my mind, because it's something you'd be surprised by how many people actually have colostomy bags, but like nobody talks about it. So I kind of just want to talk about all the stuff that I have so other people know it's normal and all that stuff, you know. So yeah, but this video is getting kind of long, so I think I'm gonna end it here, and then maybe in another video I'll talk about all that stuff. Oh, I also wanted to mention a story with how my legs were deformed, like the shape of them. So if most people know, who know me personally, know I am obsessed. Oops, I knocked my camera. No, I'm obsessed with mermaids, and there's a reason behind it. I mean, like, my room literally is covered with mermaids, and I have a mermaid tattoo, all that kind of stuff. So I lost my train of thought. Okay. The reason I'm obsessed with mermaids, first of all, The Little Mermaid was like my favorite when I was little. I mean, it still is my favorite. But also, when I was younger, I thought I was a mermaid. Like, I literally was convinced that I was a mermaid, but I wasn't like fully formed into a mermaid yet. And because of the way my feet were shaped, they were all like this, which resembles a fin in my defense. Also, I think I have like a stain. Oh no, that's something on my camera. Okay. Or on my phone screen. But so I was fully convinced that I was a mermaid. And then one time at Disney, I was meeting Ariel, and I was like, okay, listen, I have to tell you something, but like it's top secret. I have to whisper it to you because like not even my mom knows. And then I told her that I was a mermaid, and I was like so relieved that I finally had that off my chest. But yeah, like I thought like my family wasn't my real family. If you've ever seen The 13th Year, it was like an old Disney Channel original movie. It was like my favorite when I was little. Like I was convinced that was like kind of like my story, and that like when I was 13 I was gonna like fully form into a mermaid. Yeah, I don't know how I came up with it, but that's what I thought. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna end this video here. Thanks for watching. I hope this video isn't as like boring or awkward as my last video. I was like way less comfortable. But yeah, so please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. I don't even know if that's a thing on my channel. Like, do you have to have a certain number of subscribers for that? But I don't know. But yeah, so thanks. Bye.